So welcome back to the next lesson. As we've created the sign up which we use for the landing screen, for the purpose of not confusing ourselves, I might just call this I can actually leave it as landing screen, because what we're going to do next, we're not going to create different pages for the login and also the forgotten password screen. We're not going to create different pages for them. We're going to be using a dynamic panel, and we've talked about dynamic panel previously. So what we're just essentially going to do is we're going to have a link here that will tell the user if they already have a password and they can log in, so that once they log in, we replace this information with a login information set and we can proceed like that. But what I need to do is to reduce this design size a little bit, move this up a bit, and I can move this. What I could do is I can now have a text here, change font type to Roboto, and I can say already have an account, login, click to, I can just say login, because if it's mobile app they're not going to be clicking, so we just say login. And I can, let's make sure we have it the same size in terms of padding and everything. I'll align it middle and align middle and center. So we have this, so we can reduce this maybe to 14 if we want. We can reduce it and just say already have an account. Then we can say login. So we can say already have an account with a question, and then we can say login. So the user press this and we'll be able to go into the login screen. But before we do that, we need to convert this to dynamic panel, so that we can ensure that what we have here goes into a proper flow. We have two ways to do it. We can either, because we're going to be making use of some of these, we could just say this, and we can convert all this to dynamic panel. The reason we are doing this is we can make this, let's say, give this name of the dynamic panel and say sign up DP, and we go into dynamic panel and say sign up. I'll say login, and I'll say forgot password. So we have these three different states, and we'll go back to the login of the sign up. So I'm going to make this bigger. I'll copy, select everything and copy and paste it into the I'll paste everything into the login. And what I just need to do is just to ungroup this and remove this repeat password, because that's what we're not going to be needing here. We're just going to say login. You can say login securely, so that the user know, okay, our system is secured, and we have that. We can move this up as well again, and we have here, so if we have login, then that means they already have an account. If they don't have an account, they can just go back in. So because we want to have that design flow consistency, we can just say don't have an account. We can say sign up now. So we remove all that and say sign up now. So what we're going to do basically is that once the user click, if they don't have an account, they can go back to the page. So let's go back to our dynamic panel, and let us go back to our sign up. Let's go back to our login, and under this login, what we've forgotten, we need to add something here in case if the user forgot their password. We can just add something here and say forgot password, and we can just have it here so that we know that the user can click, can press this button, and when the user presses this button, then they will be able to go into the forgot password page. And on the forgot password page, we could just copy exactly the same thing, go into the forgot password, and we can actually remove this because we're going to be retrieving email. So we can move this. No, actually, we can just move this here, and we can move this here, and then we can change here and say don't worry, I have remembered my password. So we have this, and then the user can we can just say login. Let's make this bold. So we have this login. So we've done that, but we've only used just one dynamic panel, and we've created 3 different states. So what we're going to do basically is that we're going to add an interaction to this as well. So we go first to the sign up screen. We've had this interaction here when the user come here, sign up using the go to their home screen. If they want to log in, we will add on click event, and instead of saying open link, we're not going to say open link, we're just going to say set panel state. Here we're going to say set panel state to login, and we're going to say animate, we're going to say slide left, and then we will go to login, and we have this login goes to our home screen. We're still going to come back to do some conditional logic here, but we can go on the forgot password, and we can set the same thing, set panel state to forgot password, and we can say slide left. Okay, and we can say don't have an account, then we go back to slide left, which is sign up, and we just say slide left. So we've done that. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to go to forgot password, and we need to come here and say if we've forgotten our password, if we remember our password, now we can just go back to our login screen, which is this, and we can slide left as well. So let's save that and let's refresh our page and see. Now we have a landing screen which has our form to sign up and also button to log in either with Facebook or with Google. And we have a question here: if they already have an account, they can log in directly, and we see what happened. It slides in, and this form they can enter their username and their password, and they can log in securely. Or if they've forgotten their password, they can press forgotten password and they can enter this. We need to remove this order, so we can go back again and do that. So what we need to do is forgot password. We will now what is the login? Yeah, actually we don't need it in the forgot password, so let's go to the forgot password and remove this. Actually, yeah, we can just make this look okay, so it's fine. So if we refresh the page, anytime we refresh the page, we always come back to the landing screen, and that is why I decided not to change the name of the screen from landing to sign up, because we're going to be having three different actions or 3 different features in one screen. So we're going to be signing up, logging in, and trying to retrieve our password as well. And we've done that by doing this: log in. If they have an account, they can always go back, and if they forgot their password, they can always go back, and if they remember, they can always come back here again. which makes it easy. So what we're going to do now is to now work on some interaction, and we're going to focus on the login interaction so that we can lock this home screen, because at the moment, if the user click login securely, they just go straight to home screen. You know, it doesn't matter whether they enter a username or a password at all. You know, it doesn't check. So what we're going to do next is to have it check the username and the password if it's available, and then they can log in, and we'll be able to enter into the main screen. So what we need to do is we need to now give this a name, which is a good practice. So I'm going to say email address txt, and I'm going to say password txt, and I'll go to here, and what I'll do is I'll add a condition, which means I'll come here and say text on widget. I'll say email address. I'll say if the email address is james@gmail.com, and password is, let's just use simple 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then we want to open this page, and we say okay, else, and it will automatically give us the else true. If it's not, then we want to show something. So what we're going to do next is to create our error page. Now, how we're going to do that, we can just use our rectangle widget. I'm going to make it the size of this form, but I will reduce this a bit, and I'll just say something like place password, email address, and password is incorrect. Place your email address and password is incorrect. Please try again. So we have this, and we can have any design we want to have for this, but just for the sake of testing, then I'll just convert this to dynamic panel. Actually, I might not even convert this to dynamic panel. What I could just do, I could just name this box an error. So I could say email address, I could say email and pass error msg, error message. And what I could just do is I could just hide that. So we have that, and what I can do before I hide it, actually let me duplicate it so that we do one for different errors. I can say email is incorrect, please try again. So I could say email error msg, and I can say another one, password incorrect. So we have this three main thing, which is just checking whether email address and password is correct, whether email is correct, whether password is correct. If any of this is true, then it's gonna throw it and say, okay, there is an error. So we will see this error message. So for now, let me just put this here, and let's go to our button. So once we have this, login rather. Once we have this, it shows the email address, password. So we're going to say show instead of saying open. We're going to say show because we're checking for email address and password, and we're going to say error email address and password. So it's going to show this, and I'm just going to say fade, bring to front, and we're not going to open anything because it's an error, and I'll say okay. Then what I would do is I'll just copy, so I'll copy both, and I'm going to paste it so I'll go here again and do another one rather than, so I'll say email address, password. So I'll say 1 2 3 4 5 6, and I'll say if email address is ben@gmail.com, and we will say show error message. We can say show error message, which is email show error message, bring to front, fade, and we can say email. All right, so what we're saying here is that if email address, what we've made a mistake here, we need to look at here and say if email address and password is correct, we just need to open that because it's correct. So I'll just go here and say open, and I'll just remove this. Else, if email address is this, we show this message incorrect, and if we'll say okay, let's refresh this and let's try this again so we don't confuse ourselves. So we have here, I'll say jamesorel@gmail.com. we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, and we log in. We go straight to the home screen, right? But if we say here, what we can say here is the error message of that user does not exist or something. But if we type in Ben, we should be able to get our error message. So if we go back here and say ben@gmail.com 1 2 3 4 5 6, we see please your email address is incorrect. But that error message, we need to format it, where I think what we need to do here is we need to say please your email address does not exist. And instead of using that, we could just use escape instead of having to check whether does not exist is fine. What we're going to do again is to check for one if it is not present at all. So we can say email address not present, and password not present, and we're just going to show one of them, and we can change the error message later. So we can go back to the error message and say here, place your email address and password. We can say please enter your email address and password. And here we have place your password is incorrect. So we can go back again to the login and try and do another one for the password if password is not correct but email address is correct. So we say email address is fine, which is jameshoriel@gmail.com, and we have password, which is just any number or any text which is not correct, and then we can show place your password is incorrect, bring this to front, fade, and we can make that sorted out. So we have this page. Now we can go here and log in. If we enter the correct email address and password, we should be able to log in, and we log into the home screen. If not, and we enter ben@gmail.com and we enter password, if we go and enter ben@gmail.com and password, it will tell us please your email address does not exist, please try again. And if we go back and enter the right email address but the password is incorrect, we're not going to get any because we're not checking for that. So what we need to do is we need to go back here, and instead of putting unnecessary number here, we can just check and say, actually let me just copy this for the sake of testing, and we'll go back and paste it here. If we click OK, to say please your password is incorrect because that password is not correct. So those are the ways that we can check for validation to make sure our prototype is secured. Just in case sometimes you might design your prototype and somebody gets hold of this prototype, but if your page ends with .html, which means they cannot see the sitemap, even if they get hold of your prototype and they are on landing page, the splash screen and everything, for them to log into your prototype and see what's going on, if it's password protected, then they cannot actually see it. And also it's good for user testing when you are testing for the user. So the next thing we just need to do is just to make sure that we have this sorted out, align left. We can group everything together, and actually before we group together, we can just we cannot make it to be centered middle. So what I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna group this and I'll just paste it in the middle here. So we have here middle and here, and let's see if we can make this show as light box. Yeah, we can treat it as light box as well. We can treat this as light box. We can treat it as light box. Light box also, it's more or less like a modal pop-up. So if we go back to the page again and refresh it, and we say already have an account, login, username, one, two, three, four, five, six, we are in. And if only the username is correct and password is wrong, it will say please your password is incorrect. And if it is Ben and we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, it tells us please your email address does not exist. And if we try and log in without anything, it tells us that place your password isn't correct. I think what we have here is we need to change this error message. So we say this. Email and pass missing. Let's change the name of the error message so that we can actually show it properly. So it does not exist, so we have that here. Alright, so what we need to do here, instead of showing that, we just say here does not exist, light box, and we can fade, and this one and this one does not exist as well. So we have both of them correct, which is fine now. So what we've done basically is, let's refresh our page. We've come here, we've logged in, and we've come here and enter our email address and password, and we are in. Or we've come here, log in, and say pen Gmail, and it shows us place your email address does not exist. Or we've tried and log in blank and we say please your email address does not exist. We could have shown something like, please enter your email address, and password. But we understand what this is all about now, and everything is working perfectly as we intended. So in the next tutorial, we will be looking at how we can now design our login, our forgot password, which we're going to be using the same thing anyway to check just if password exists. Then we just kind of display a message next. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.